Thanks very much, Steve. Even after tonight, Manchester City will still have a game on hand on most of their rivals in around the top of the Premier League table. Is this season beginning to fall into place for Pep Guardiola? Last season, Crystal Palace came here and got a 2-2 draw at the Etihad. That was this weekend last year. Palace have had an excellent record actually on their recent trips to Manchester, be it at Old Trafford or here at the Etihad. Palace unbeaten in their last 5 visits to Manchester. They won against Manchester United at Old Trafford earlier on this season. However, recent form, Roy Hodgson's team have only had 1 win in their last 7 Premier League games, and they're missing 3 very influential players tonight. Kouyaté, who's had to play in both defence and midfield this season. He's probably been Palace's best defender. Benteke, who's just recently begun to find that goal-scoring touch and that presence that he gives Crystal Palace in attack. And Wilfried Zaha, who we've much discussed. 3 players who really, if you were to say, Michael, to any Crystal Palace fan, name 3 players you don't want to miss this game, those would probably be the 3 they'd name. So Palace are up against it tonight.
They are up against it, and we've seen that trusty formation of a 4-4-2 that they know very well. They know the shape. If they have to change, if they go to a 3-man midfield, they'll be certainly conserving it. But can they get out? Are they going to be able to have enough to get up the pitch? And Manchester City are controlling that possession, and psychologically, we have said before, missing those players. Have they got enough in the group to get through it and get on with the game? So
the draw at Anfield earlier means that Manchester City can go top if they win this and their game in hand. And Liverpool's draw with Manchester United, no win in 4 Premier League matches now for Jurgen Klopp, is an opportunity presenting itself with the champions stumbling. And can Manchester City step up? This is a test. You know, a team that would go on to win the league, Michael, would win this game. A team that would slip away, they might have a little stumble. I mean, this will actually tell us a lot about the character of Pep Guardiola's side.
Well, the character's there from the manager, what he believes, what he tries to set, the mentality into the players. But you would expect, as you said, a side in form, being hard to beat, keeping clean sheets, to go on comfortably win this match with the prospect of Aston Villa in the week to go back to top of the Premier League.
Right, we're about to get started. Lee Mason is the referee, hasn't shown a red card in the Premier League this season. He has taken charge of one Manchester City game this campaign, and it's one for the City fans to remember. It was the 5-0 win against Burnley here in November. The players take a knee ahead of kick-off. The message is there's no room for racism. Eze down there raising his right fist in the air. And the players get back up to their feet. And we prepare to get started. Manchester City against Crystal Palace in the Premier League this 5 Live Premier League Sunday. We've already brought you plenty of action with the win for Tottenham at Sheffield United, the draw at Anfield between Liverpool and Manchester United. And now we've got Manchester City against Palace. John Stones, who's had a real renaissance in recent times, looks back to his absolute best. He's alongside Ruben Diaz, another who has settled in very well to English football, and that central defensive partnership, which has been a real problem for Manchester City ever since Vincent Kompany left the club. They might just have stumbled across the best partnership for some time.
Well, it's fantastic news for John Stones. I've always really admired the way he wants to take the ball, has that bravery. He just lost so much with injuries and other problems that he had. He couldn't find that run, especially when Aymeric Laporte early on in the season looked like he was going to partner Diaz, who's come on and done extremely well, very vocal, so a really good combination.
Manchester City in their traditional sky blue, Palace in their regular home strip, the blue and red stripes. Gundogan wins the possession away from Townsend in the midfield, and now De Bruyne, who's midway inside the Crystal Palace half, is tackled by Andros Townsend. Townsend does well to win the ball and then runs into trouble. Zinchenko and Sterling between them trying to get it off him. James McCarthy comes in to help for Manchester City, and Ayew's able to break over the halfway line on the right hand side, and I think that's a decent opening exchange there from a Crystal Palace point of view, with both Ayew and Townsend showing they're willing to roll up their sleeves here and get stuck into Manchester City.
They had to, and we talked about how in wide areas they can get up the pitch when they're under that little bit of pressure. As Townsend picked it up, he had nowhere to go. He was under pressure from Zinchenko, from Sterling, but showed real determination. As you say, then onto Ayew, and they got themselves a throw.
Just Ayew's hurt himself in the process there. He's been grimacing, he's been looking over towards the dugout. That is all Roy Hodgson would need. Without Benteke, without Zaha, he doesn't need there to be an early injury to Jordan Ayew here. He's walking at the moment, slight limp, we'll keep an eye on that. Roy Hodgson watching on, 74 next birthday. Sir Alex Ferguson seemed ancient when he retired at 71. Roy Hodgson having a whole mini career later than that.
He might choose a different word though, Connor.
Well, I was trying to be polite. I was trying to be polite as I could. Right, 0-0 for now here on Five Live for the BBC as Zinchenko takes a throw in on the far side. Michael mentioned the brilliant goal that Andros Townsend scored in this game 2 seasons ago. It was named the Premier League goal of the season. It was nominated for the Puskas Award. It might take something of that spectacular nature if Crystal Palace are to ruffle the feathers of Manchester City tonight, as Diaz plays a crossfield ball controlled by his fellow Portuguese international Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva starting wide on the right for City tonight, Sterling wide on the left, and they really are wide. Both of them at the moment are virtually hugging the chalk of the touchline on either side as Fernandinho drills in across into a busy penalty area. Gundogan ducked away for it, and Palace will clear. Eze surrounded by Manchester City players, and it comes off De Bruyne and out for a throw into Palace left full-back position. Guardiola's clearly trying to spread the width of the pitch as much as possible. When City had possession there, Sterling was right out on the left wing, and Bernardo Silva was right out the right.
No, you've got to do that as a formation with a change for Crystal Palace. It's definitely a 4-5-1 with Eze patrolling down the left-hand side, Townsend on the right with the 3-man midfield, Milivojevic, McCarthy. Manchester City, as you've said, that back four, Zinchenko coming inside to make the extra midfielder, so real fascinating start.
Yeah, we've got our teeth in tonight with James MacArthur and James McCarthy. There's a chocolate bar at half-time for the first of us who stumbles over those two as Townsend crosses on the left-hand side for Palace, headed away by Diaz, not great distance on it. McCarthy tries to win it on the edge of the D, but City get things mocked up, and Zinchenko will come away with possession up towards the halfway line on the left-hand side. Edison, the goalkeeper for City, Walker, Ruben Diaz, John Stones and Zinchenko, the back four. 3 in the midfield, De Bruyne, Fernandinho and Gundogan, and 3 up top, Bernardo Silva, Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling. He's got a good record over the years against Crystal Palace, 5 goals in his last 7 Premier League appearances against Palace for Raheem Sterling. And City win a free kick over by the touchline on the far side. Free kick midway into Crystal Palace territory. Challenge was by Joel Ward. Palace team in full. Guaita the goalkeeper, Ward, Tompkins, Cahill and Mitchell the back four. 3 in the middle of the midfield, Milivojevic, McCarthy and MacArthur. Andros Townsend wide on the right, Eberechi Eze wide on the left, and Jordan Ayew up top. Ayew, who's never scored against Manchester City. This is the 9th time he's faced them in his career. His brother Andre did score against City for Swansea in the past. Fernandinho here drops in between the 2 central defenders and brings the ball forward for Manchester City. Fernandinho, who's in for Rodri tonight. Rodri, who hardly ever misses a game in the Premier League for Pep Guardiola. Bernardo Silva to De Bruyne, who tries to cross. He's challenged by MacArthur, and the ball goes out for the first corner of the evening. Corner to Manchester City on the right hand side. 0-0. Michael Brown.
We've seen Manchester City deploy that sort of tactics for many a season. Kevin De Bruyne from that midfield area, Bernardo Silva wide, inside run, forcing the corner. Now set pieces, Diaz could be key.
City looking for their 5th Premier League win in a row. Corner taken by the Belgian. De Bruyne too high for Ruben Diaz on the back post. Sterling will keep it in play on the left wing, and it's a busy penalty area still waiting as Sterling twists one way and then the other. Ward does well on it. Good challenge from Joel Ward, and it goes out for a corner to City on the other side. Early stages here, 6 minutes played at the Etihad. 0-0 between Manchester City and Crystal Palace, and De Bruyne, who had taken the corner on the right hand side, now runs the entire width of the pitch to go across and take the corner on the far side. Pep Guardiola's got a warm padded winter jacket on over his hoodie, hooded jacket over the hoodie top, and he's back to play here, having a chat with his assistants as the corner is played in from the far side. Bernardo Silva keeps it in play close to the byline on the right hand side, edging towards the edge of the penalty area. Back to Zinchenko on the right wing for Manchester City. Still, most of the Palace team are inside the penalty area where they had been defending the corner. Zinchenko, very clever ball, low to the feet of Gabriel Jesus, who's forced back out of the penalty area. Good defending by Tyreek Mitchell, and Palace are going to get it back again, and Ayew turns away from Gundogan and passes it to Eze. Now, can he fulfill the Wilfred Zaha role tonight as he tries to stride forward, cuts in field of De Bruyne, tries to edge it on, but cut out by Fernandinho, and the ball goes out for a throw into Crystal Palace, and Eze needs to step up tonight. Palace need a good game from him here.
He's got to step up, and I believe he'll get a little bit of space, but ultimately at that point, where can he travel with? He tried a threaded ball there to Ayew, lost it. He's got to stay on, he's got to keep it. But yeah, great, this is the game, this is what he signed for Crystal Palace for. He has to shine.
As well as listening to us on the wireless tonight, we are on BBC Sounds and also available via the live text commentary page of the BBC Sport website. Busy day, all the reaction to the events at Anfield earlier as well. Great goal from Ndombele for Tottenham earlier on. You can watch it all on Match of the Day 2, 10:30 tonight with Mark Chapman, Alan Shearer and Danny Murphy, and that's followed by the Women's Football Show with Kelly Summers from 11:35, where you can catch up on what's been a busy day in the WSL. Fernandinho lumps it forward for City, just an aimless ball, and it carries all the way through to Vicente Guaita, wearing all yellow. Away to our right hand side, Palace playing from right to left as we look down here as Tompkins pumps it long, looking for Ayew, beaten in the air by Ruben Diaz. Very casual header down, he was just trying to nod it to his teammate John Stones, who was nearly intercepted by James MacArthur. He got away with it there, Ruben Diaz, but that was almost too ambitious. Here is John Stones. Scored against Manchester United in the recent Manchester derby win at Old Trafford in the League Cup semi-final. John Stones. Ruben Diaz comes forward, low ball towards Gabriel Jesus, cut out by James MacArthur.
They're really good at narrowing the space, Crystal Palace, driving you inside, and you mentioned Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling hugging the byline. Roy Hodgson's team generally defend the penalty box very, very well. The wait inside, no through runners, wait for you to go outside, then go to defend it. They're happy with you crossing the ball. Manchester City don't always want to do that, so they've got to be sure when they're threading the ball, Manchester City, that three-man midfield that can get it through.
The only goal Manchester City have conceded in their last 7 home matches was an own goal. Ruben Diaz put into his own net in the draw with West Bromwich Albion here in mid-December. The last opposition player to score at the Etihad was Mo Salah when he got a penalty for Liverpool, and that was all the way back in November, that game that finished 1-1. City's defence has been almost watertight lately. Andros Townsend just about controls on the right hand side for Palace. MacArthur plays the ball into the penalty area and sliding back towards his own goal. How confident is that? A diving chest back pass from Kyle Walker to give the ball back to Ederson.
It's a strange one, wasn't it? He knew early that he was going to chest it into the goalkeeper. Ederson is almost laying down on the floor, sort of right on the penalty spot, but he got it correct.
Dion Dublin talking about his warm socks earlier on today on 5 Live. Ederson looks the most wrapped up Premier League player on the pitch that I've seen this season. He's got the skins on, the tights in his legs, he's got a snood on, but you can tell the bulk of his shirt, he's clearly got several layers of thermals under there. He knows that he's not expecting a very busy night. Let's just put it that way.
He might have been in the gym, Connor. He might have had a good time in the gym, pumping himself up.
You're being very kind to Ederson there, Michael Brown.
Bit of protein and a few sessions.
In Ireland we would say he's got an Aaron sweater on underneath his shirt there. He's got proper bulk. It'll be interesting to see how many saves that he does get to make tonight. 11 minutes played. Palace have been nowhere near the Manchester City penalty areas so far here at the Etihad. Manchester City 0, Crystal Palace 0 on 5 Live as Fernandinho sprays a crossfield ball, accurate, controlled by Bernardo Silva. Tyreek Mitchell tries to get close to him. Kyle Walker now comes to join the attack for City, gets to the byline right hand side, cuts it back for Bernardo Silva. That's a delicious ball into the penalty area, headed away by James Tompkins. Very important header because Gabriel Jesus was behind and he had already cocked his neck. He's actually flung his head as if the ball was coming to him, and last gasp taken away from him by Tompkins. That's about as threatening as Manchester City have been so far.
Yeah, it is, and the early cross, I said Crystal Palace are quite comfortable. They don't mind the balls coming into the box. Another opportunity.
Gabriel Jesus tees up Gundogan. His shot drills into the body of a defender. City come again. It's Fernandinho midway inside the Palace half. Again this tactic of spraying it to the right wing, controlled immediately. Just stamping down the ball was Bernardo Silva. Gundogan then with a careless pass by his standards brings play from the edge of the Palace penalty area all the way back inside his own half, and he waves several arms of apology there towards different teammates. Gundogan, he knows he should have done better there. Diaz, again the outlet is Bernardo Silva. Graceful first touch to lay it back to Kyle Walker. Midway inside the Crystal Palace half. Short in field to Fernandinho. Back to Walker. infield again to John Stones. Every single one of City's outfield players are pushed up now, well inside the Palace half. They're doing a real squeeze as Ward wins a header inside his own penalty area. Ball comes back to him from Tompkins, and Ward clears away with the help of Townsend. But Palace, this could be a long evening, as once again they give the ball up immediately, and Roy Hodgson's side just can't get a kick at the moment.
No, they can't, but they'll be happy. They're comfortable out of possession. They're trained to do this. They work on set plays, on shape, every single day. That's Roy Hodgson's style. And Manchester City don't like to hit the big diagonal pass, Connor. They think it's a little bit open when you mention this control. But I think they need to do it in this game. When they're hugging the touchline, we said Bernardo, Sterling, John Stones, step in. Can you hit it quickly? Can you hit it with some sort of power and purpose? But it doesn't always sort of fit into Pep's style.
Manchester City 0, Crystal Palace 0. A City win here would move them up to 35 points. That is the same number of points as Leicester City in second place. City have got the same goal difference as Leicester, so by virtue of winning this game they would move ahead of Leicester in the table tonight. They would be tucked in behind Manchester United, and Manchester 1-2 in the table if Pep Guardiola's side win this game. Palace try to attack down the right hand side, but the ball goes out of play off Ayew, and that'll be a throw into Manchester City for Zinchenko. There was a you mentioned that crossfield pass, Michael Brown, one of them from Fernandinho there. The way it was controlled by Bernardo Silva. I mean, I think sometimes, we always analyse when someone scores a goal or in the build-up or something like that, but very rarely a moment like that gets looked at. The skill involved, the way this ball came to him, probably from the bones of 60 yards away, and just by stamping his foot on the ground, he instantly killed it. I mean, such high technique that he is brilliant at. As Eze tries to get on the end of a cross here for Palace into the penalty area, and it's just flashes in front of him. Kyle Walker happy to guide it out for what is a goal kick, but that latest Palace attack comes to naught. Goal kick to City, 0-0.
Yeah, it was positive from Crystal Palace. They wanted to deliver. Andros Townsend likes to put the ball in. It wasn't a curled sort of cross in from the right hand side with his left foot. It was sort of a stab diagonal pass out to Eze as he enters the area just above him and Kyle Walker. But they'll be pleased so far, Crystal Palace, limiting City to opportunities.
It's been a funny season for Manchester City. On Wednesday when they beat Brighton, it was the first time this season that Manchester City moved into the top 4, which when I read that first I was like, really? And it just sort of reminds you what a slow start they did have, not helped by the fact that right from the beginning they had missed out on some games that other teams had played because of their late participation in Europe last season and stuff like that. But City have always played fewer games than the other teams, and it's only this week for the first time that they've moved into the top 4, and Pep Guardiola will not want them to move out of the top 4. Corner again to City. Ball came off Joel Ward. De Bruyne's going to cross to place it. City have sent pretty much everyone forward. Kyle Walker's back defending, marking Eze in the centre circle. Everyone else has gone up. Here it comes from De Bruyne. In-swinger punched away by Vicente Guaita, comes out as far as Zinchenko. Eze gets it away from him. Zinchenko immediately wins it back for Manchester City. Walker out to the left wing where De Bruyne had taken that corner. He controls on the instep, immediately challenged by Townsend. Townsend feels that as he tackled De Bruyne there, the last touch came off the Belgian. On the far side of the pitch, the assistant is covering the end where Palace are attacking, so he was a long way away from that. Flag is raised in Manchester City's favour. Townsend's not happy with that. 0-0. Fernandinho back to the halfway line to John Stones. We've yet to have a proper shot on target in this game so far. We've played 16 minutes. Walker to Bernardo Silva on the right wing. If you missed the team news earlier on, no Zaha for Palace, no Foden in the City starting team. Phil Foden, who is City's top scorer now in all competitions this season, he is available on the bench. I guess he is still only 20. He can't play in every game. Here's City's number 20, Bernardo Silva, edge of the penalty area, right hand side, gives it in field to De Bruyne, back out to Bernardo Silva. Now he puts it in front of Kyle Walker, asking a lot of Walker. Walker gets there ahead of the byline. He's done well to deliver across from there. Gabriel Jesus jumps for it, can't win it. Townsend clears away for Crystal Palace up to the halfway line. It's nodded down by Diaz to Fernandinho. City very comfortable at the moment. Michael Brown.
Yeah, very comfortable. It wasn't a great ball from Bernardo for Kyle Walker to chase the line. He did really well to get his foot underneath as he falls over the advertising boardings and just didn't come to anything. Townsend clearing it away. But look at the patient. They've got no choice. The build-up. Manchester City's in control, as we know. But Palace, again, the lines are so hard that you can't get through, you can't thread it. into Gabriel Jesus. Gundogan's trying to get in some areas. You can see Kevin De Bruyne as well. It's all about the patience. A little bit quicker and I think they'll get in.
Manchester City have only been beaten twice this season. Leicester beat them in September, that crazy 5-2 game. Tottenham beat them in November, that's been it. Again, the crossfield ball towards Bernardo Silva, but this is a poor one. And it's behind him and it goes out for a Crystal Palace throw. Crystal Palace under pressure from kick-off here, and most of their play has been inside their own half. Tariq Mitchell playing at left back, only turned 21 in September, preferred to Patrick Van Aanholt, who is on the Palace bench this evening. It's a 10th appearance in the Premier League this season for Mitchell. Had played the first 6 league matches of the campaign, then he got a knock in training and was out for some time, but has come back into the side in recent weeks. Zinchenko here, deepest lying Manchester City defender, rolls it back to the wrapped up warm Edison Moreira. And he bowls the ball out in front of Zinchenko again, and he'll bring the play up to the halfway line. 0-0 here. Again, the ball to the right wing, the direct pass to bring Bernardo Silva into play, and he attacks Tariq Mitchell. 5 yards from the byline on the right, cuts it back for Kyle Walker. High, swirling, overstruck cross, disappointing from Walker, goes straight out for a goal kick. Well, clearly the tactic is play it long to Bernardo Silva and let him take on the inexperienced Tariq Mitchell, but Manchester City have yet to deliver. I don't think they've delivered. Probably there was one good ball in from Fernandinho, that's been it in the game so far.
Yeah, there's been nothing to it, as you expect. A real high percentage of possession for Manchester City, but one shot I think in total, which tells the story. They've expected more so early on in this game. 18 minutes gone, but it's been full control, moved it around. As soon as the tempo goes up, I believe it'll be more difficult for Crystal Palace, but they've got to be delighted so far with the shape, the organisation. It's not easy to do that against this City side.
Crystal Palace who drew 0-0 against Arsenal on Thursday. Before that, knocked out of the FA Cup last weekend by Wolves. Palace knocked out of both domestic cup competitions in their first games in those competitions this season. Didn't score in their one and only League Cup match, didn't score in their one and only FA Cup match. It is very much the league to concentrate on now for Roy Hodgson, the oldest manager, not just in the Premier League but in all top 4 divisions of English football. John Stones has possession here inside the Manchester City penalty area, stabs it up towards the centre circle. Poor layoff again by Gundogan. He's had a few uncertain touches now. Eze pounces upon it for Palace, plays a 1-2 with Ayew, now gives it across to Townsend, and the referee has blown a whistle, and that was a foul on Eze, which I think Lee Mason just paused for a moment to see if there would be some advantage, and there wasn't. So this is actually a promising position now for Crystal Palace. It's a free kick 20 yards outside the penalty area, and Manchester City bring everyone back to defend it.
They would probably hope it'd be a little bit wider so they can get that curl, somebody around the back. The line of Manchester City is extremely high. It's going to be difficult to get in. Maybe a late run, a midfield run with a delayed little clip. So what's Eze going to sort of take here? But really loose from Gundogan.
It's not a shooting position, but it's one to try and guide in. Here it comes from Eze. Out comes Edison. Well anticipated by the goalkeeper, and he claims that confidently. And a wasted opportunity for Crystal Palace. How many of those sort of set pieces are they going to get tonight? Eberechi Eze, who scored a very fine goal at the start of this month against Sheffield United, got his first ever Premier League goal last month against Leeds. I have to say, he's a player I love watching, Eze, and I've seen a lot of him this season. When he has the ball, you don't take your eye off the game. You know there's this potential something's going to happen.
Well, I was watching the game for Palace v Sheffield United, as you said, and he picked the ball up and he started to travel. You're thinking somebody's got to get near him. He had that composure to just curl it round Ramsdale. It's a great goal, and he's announcing himself in the Premier League.
Here is Gundogan on the attack for Manchester City. No goals here on 5 Live from the BBC. The 7:15 kick-off this Sunday evening. Fernandinho comes forward, scoops the ball out towards Bernardo Silva. Not the easiest one for the little Portuguese player to receive. He to jump as high as he could to keep that in play, but he does do so. Walker gives it across to Stone. This is scrappy from City, and Zinchenko gives it away. You could see that happening. 1 or 2 loose passes meant everyone was struggling a bit there, and now Palace with a chance to counter-attack. MacArthur towards the edge of the penalty area. Eze on the left-hand side, pirouettes into trouble. De Bruyne wins it off him. Eze tried to turn away from Bernardo Silva, but he turned into Kevin De Bruyne and City win it back again. Now can they counter-attack? Gundogan inside the centre circle gives it back to Kyle Walker. It's quite a conservative approach from City here. We spoke about it in the build-up to the match. City don't score as many goals this season as they have done in previous campaigns. They're minding the ball a bit more, being more careful. Here comes De Bruyne, takes a shot from outside the penalty area, and it takes a deflection, and it goes out for a corner on the left-hand side. He was trying to get a whip on it towards the far top post. There was only a very small glance, but it does strike a defender, and City have got themselves a corner, 0-0.
Well, they've been able to find that space. Fernandinho, great passing forward, splitting the lines of Crystal Palace. Gabriel Jesus just lays it off into Gundogan, and Kevin De Bruyne, you know how he doesn't sort of leave an opportunity, pulls it onto his left foot, gets the shot away and deflected.
We're midway through the first half. Corner taken short. Sterling tries to shoot, deflects back to Gundogan. His shot comes in low, and good defending by Gary Cahill, who threw his body on the ground and made the save there. He's actually got to be so careful in that situation that he doesn't handle it. He just, used his body as a buffer there to block the shot, and Palace relieved to get it away, 0-0.
It was a fabulous block. As Sterling comes across, he gets his body right on the line. One away, then the next one's coming. I think it's Joe Ward, the second one. Full credit to Crystal Palace trying to see the danger away. We're under a little bit of pressure there now with the ball dead. Townsend just drawing that free kick that allows them just to set themselves up and finally get a touch of the ball.
Palace have got back-to-back home games coming after this. They host West Ham, who are on a decent run at the moment, and then Wolves, who are struggling, and then they've got 2 away games in a row. They go to Newcastle and then to Leeds. This is a difficult fixture tonight. No Zaha, no Kouyaté, no Benteke, but Palace holding their own so far. And Manchester City, for all their possession, have not yet had a gilt-edged opportunity to test Vicente Guaita. It's been just possession football from Pep Guardiola's side, but no real end result yet. Of course, we know any little break in concentration from Palace and they'll be in trouble. Here's Bernardo Silva down the right hand side, back to De Bruyne. Here comes the cross into the penalty area. Gabriel Jesus controls it but has to step out of the box to do so. He has possession on the left corner edge, trying to weave into a shooting position, runs into Ayew. Ayew gets his body in the way. Good work from Jordan Ayew to win it back for Palace there, and then MacArthur almost gives it away on the edge of the penalty area. Cahill helps him and Palace clear it away. MacArthur breathes a sigh of relief. 0-0, Michael Brown.
Yeah, he does. It's just constant pressure and defending, clearing the lines. Tompkins at that point, he knew they were under pressure. He had to get another loose pass.
City's passing's been poor tonight. Andros Townsend has intercepted this one. He's on his bike over the halfway line, taking on John Stones in the sprint. Townsend goes all the way to the byline, hangs it across, decent delivery, but it had been such a good counter-attack. There was no one up with him. Eze was the furthest forward. He was a few yards behind that, and good work from Townsend. Goes a begging down the right-hand side, but that sums up the attitude that Palace need tonight. Getting stuck in, hard work, hard running from Townsend, and taking advantage of some soppy City play. But now Sterling picks up a loose ball and rolls it into the penalty area. De Bruyne's in, tried to tee it back for Sterling. Why didn't he take it on himself there? De Bruyne very unselfish, and Palace intercepted, put it out for a corner. I thought the goal was at his mercy there, Ken.
Yeah, it was. It was a mistake again, the square pass. City capitalised on. Joel Ward just couldn't clear it away, and as the ball gets put out to Kevin De Bruyne, he delivers it across. The recovery run by Joel Ward was sensational, seeing his danger away for his team.
Yeah, more of that hard work from Palace we've been discussing. No goals at the Etihad. De Bruyne's corner. Fernandinho jumped, didn't get a touch on it. Comes to Sterling outside the penalty area. Another of these high crossfield balls to De Bruyne on the right hand side. That's a brilliant cross, and Stones will score. John Stones' header, remarkably, it's his first ever Premier League goal for Manchester City. That was a delicious cross from Kevin De Bruyne. Talk about world class, and all it needed was a little nod on from Stones. He scored in other competitions, he scored for England, he's never scored in the Premier League for City. John Stones makes it Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace 0.
I felt like it was coming, the opportunity before with Kevin De Bruyne. You don't ask him twice. Outside of his right foot, it's a wand. It's a brilliant ball in right to the centre of the box, just outside the 6-yard area. Stones rises, just glances the header into the far right corner. He runs off with delight. It's all about the pass. Sensational De Bruyne.
It's absolutely all about the pass. as Michael Brown says. Credit to John Stones. It's another sign of his resurgence as such an important player for Manchester City now. A guy who seemed to be on the fringes for some time, and maybe his future would have been in doubt as a Manchester City player. He's suddenly become one of their most important individuals. Here he is jumping and winning a header against IU, and he's got the goal tonight. But match of the day too. BBC One at 10:30. And if you are a young player who wants to learn how to cross the ball, just watch how Kevin De Bruyne did that. Incredible.
How do you want him to do it? Left foot, right foot, inside of the foot, outside of the foot? Where do you want it? I'll just deliver it. Get me anywhere near the penalty box and the ball's going in. You know you can stay there when he's in those areas. It was great celebration as well for Stones.
I wanted to
ran off, delighted.
He's delighted because he's waited a long time for that Premier League goal for Manchester City. I don't want to be unkind to him. It would have been almost impossible for him to miss it. That's how good a cross it is. As long as the ball hits his head, it's going into the back of the net. It was brilliant from Kevin De Bruyne.
Well, you're being a little bit harsh. Yes, he's done very harsh. He's leaped, and he's in the area. Do you know, from the set piece, he's stayed up, he's waited. But when you know you've got a player in the wide area that falls to you, you're not going nowhere. You're waiting because he'll find you. And he had two players in front of him, Connor, and for him just to have the audacity, I'm thinking, is he going to open it up and whiz that with the inside of his foot? He doesn't, and he just flicks it with the outside. Brilliant.
Quality. Not many players can do that. And John Stones, who, of course, you know, he's plenty of important goals in his career, scored twice for England at the World Cup in Russia in 2018. Zinchenko misses the ball here, but it runs beyond him to Raheem Sterling. So Manchester City leading 1-0 here. As things stand, they'll be moving second in the Premier League tonight. They would be 2 points behind leaders Manchester United. Crucially, Pep Guardiola's side will still have a game in hand. Their next match is at home on Wednesday. They host Aston Villa here in the Premier League. Assuming that game does go ahead, which, you know, at the moment it is set to, but of course Villa have had to cancel their last couple of league games, so I'll just wait for the absolute confirmation of that. But that's when they should
started training today. Aston Villa, somebody said to me that there was some sort of training session base for Aston Villa today, and it might be still difficult to get a senior squad out though.
I know that they did have to shut their training ground, Aston Villa, so maybe it is that's reopened again. But you would have thought, given that it's over 2 weeks now since the initial outbreak of things, that players who would have been isolating, etc., should be through that period. But of course they will be tested very regularly, and we will wait to see the absolute confirmation that game does go ahead here on Wednesday. But that could be the night, Wednesday, that Manchester City go top of the Premier League. Here is Eze on the left hand side for Crystal Palace. Interesting to see how they respond now, because the task has changed. They were absorbing the pressure pretty well, we've been saying in the commentary, up until the opening goal. But sitting back and just absorbing won't be enough now. Roy Hodgson's side have got to at least try and come and get something here. Remember, no Zaha, no Benteke, no Kouyaté. Here's Ward on the attack down the right hand side. Rushed cross straight towards Ruben Diaz. He clears away for Manchester City. Zinchenko plays a 1-2 with Gundogan. City comfortable in possession here as it's played up towards Raheem Sterling. Intercepted though by Milivojevic. Good work for Palace. He'll give it to Andros Townsend. Back heels it to Milivojevic. Chance to cross on the right hand side. He comes in field of Zinchenko. Really good stuff. Into Ayew. Ayew doesn't fancy a shot. Down to the penalty area goes MacArthur. Palace with a few muted appeals for a penalty. I say muted. They're not really applying the pressure on Lee Mason there. There was a stumble and a tumble in the penalty area for MacArthur, but no penalty, not for now anyway. VAR will be looking at it. In the background, a little scare for Manchester City. Michael Brown.
It was a scare. It was a great set from Ayew as he just lays the ball into the box, and ultimately Crystal Palace still have that faith. We've seen it, and we mentioned it in the build-up. Manchester City need that second goal. The patience will be there from this Palace side. They won't change. They won't come out and do too many things different to what they've set up, and limited Manchester City only to sort of one shot on target, and that tells a story of half an hour gone in the game, Connor. And I think they've done well. Manchester City, yes, have controlled it, but they haven't really got in advanced areas.
Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace 0. Kevin De Bruyne's 100th assist in all competitions for Manchester City. John Stones' first Premier League goal for the club. Here is De Bruyne again. Right wing position, gives it back to Walker, and again one of these wayward crosses. Now he's saying that the reason it was so wayward is it took a deflection, and the referee agrees. Last touch off Eze, it will be a City corner. So John Stones had scored a Premier League goal before, back in his Everton days, April 2015. Tonight is his 172nd game in the Premier League, and he has scored just his second top flight goal of his career.
That's amazing. He only scored recently, didn't he? So to get
in the
the
League
second
Cup,
one in the League Cup, it comes. He must be thinking, how can it get so good so quick?
Yeah, it's all coming together for him. Reward for hard work, I guess. John Stones, a lot of money when he came in, young player to Manchester City, and he certainly has taken time to become firmly established as one of the better players of the team. But at the moment, he's invaluable to Pep Guardiola.
Do you know what it does, Connor? It makes sure you're ready for that opportunity. He thought, and everybody would think, that there was no opportunity for him. Nathan Ake comes in, and Laporte looked like they had that relationship with Diaz, and it didn't think you'd get a John Stones in the side. A couple of things happened. He was ready. He stepped in, and just shows you how quick football changes.
I'm sure some other coaches will listen to that and think, doesn't Pep Guardiola have the life? So Ake's injured, Laporte is injured, Eric Garcia's injured. Oh, it's okay, we'll just play Ruben Diaz and John Stones. I mean, talk about strength and depth in a position that traditionally, as we mentioned before, has been a problem for City centre-half. But they've arguably, company notwithstanding, they've arguably got their best selection of central defenders now that they've had for some time.
Yeah, it's looking much healthier in position. I think Diaz has done well. Lots of talk about why he's done well. Vocal, keen. He's always leading the team.
Here's Zinchenko on the attack for City on the far side. Townsend's having a good game for Palace. He wins it back. And then it's played forward by James McCarthy, too far in front of Andros Townsend, and Ruben Diaz will float across and win it back. Very composed player, Ruben Diaz, still just 23 years of age. He has started every league game since his arrival at Manchester City. Stones passes it low to Raheem Sterling, midway inside the Palace half. Injection of pace to get away from two players. De Bruyne towards Gabriel Jesus on the edge of the box, and De Bruyne's taken down at a free kick to City. Free kick in a shooting position here. It was a first-time pass played by De Bruyne, and he was crunched into, and he is still down and may need some treatment here, slowly getting up to his knees. The tackle was from Joel Ward, who not for the first time has left the studs in there.
Joel Ward doesn't disappoint. I know him well from the Portsmouth days, a young player coming through. He's certainly committed, very, very professional. He's got tight. I don't think he caught him too much, and hence the referees let that sort of one go. But now it's a good area for Manchester City. A couple of the specialists, Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo over the ball. De Bruyne with that right foot walks away from it.
Yeah, I think he's hurt, De Bruyne. He'll be able to play on, but while the sting of that challenge is still throbbing in his leg, he's going to step away from the free kick. It looks like Gundogan will be the man to take, but Bernardo Silva is also standing there too. Gundogan, the right-footed option. Here he comes, hits it, balloons a terrible free kick, and way too high. Normally, technically such a good player, Ilkay Gundogan has had some surprisingly bad touches in this game.
He has, and we've seen him from those areas score free kicks into the top corner. Yeah, he's been disappointing with the right foot so far, but I'll give him another chance if he gets one. They'll all be waiting to take it. The array of talent that Manchester City have.
Absolutely. Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace 0. Ilkay Gundogan, who scored against Newcastle on Boxing Day, scored against Chelsea on January 3rd, scored against Palace in this game 2 seasons ago. Just by his very high standards, he's had a few wayward touches tonight. John Stones' goal separates the teams, and we've got 10 minutes to go until half-time. More reaction coming up over the break to events at Anfield, where Liverpool and Manchester United took points off each other, 0-0 there. Probably the best outcome for Pep Guardiola. Earlier on today, Sheffield United 1, Tottenham 3. It finished at Bramall Lane. And Sheffield United, having waited so long for that first league win of the season, which we were at not so long ago, Michael, but same old story for Chris Wilder. He sounded, I heard his interview earlier on with Ross Goodman. Chris Wilder sounded as despondent as any Premier League manager I've heard in a post-match interview. I think he's really worried now.
Yeah, he's finding it really, really tough. Managed to see him Bristol Rovers when he got that win, that 100th win that he'd waited so long for. He's got to keep going. He's done a remarkable job at Sheffield United, and tough times ahead for my former club. Yeah,
De Bruyne's possession here for Manchester City. Fernandinho to Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. Now back to Walker as he runs to put some pressure on him. Palace playing very deep at the moment now. Their central defenders are just outside their own penalty area. City come forward with Zinchenko on the left-hand side. Palace don't want to leave any space in behind the back four of the goalkeeper for City's speedsters to get in and exploit. City 1, Palace 0. 5 live from the BBC, also live on BBC Sounds tonight and via the live text page on the BBC Sport website. Here is Zinchenko, number 11 on his back, bright orange boots, looking up, can't see a pass forward, so rolls it back to the goal scorer John Stones. Alongside him is Fernandinho, who scored an own goal against Crystal Palace last season. Gundogan with a better ball this time to bring Bernardo Silva into the penalty area. Right hand side, back to De Bruyne. This is the angle in which he sent in the cross for the opening goal. This time he's going to play it back to Zinchenko. Zinchenko to Kyle Walker on the right hand side. Palace have been dragged one side and to the other as City whiz the ball around at high speed. Gundogan to Bernardo Silva on the right wing, clips it into the box, flicked on header by Gundogan. Gabriel Jesus is in there, header on target, saved by Guaita. And a promising build-up for Manchester City, who are looking for that second goal ahead of half-time.
Another good opportunity from the right-hand side, left-footed. Bernardo Silva coming in, it's flicked on. There's Jesus just trying to get forward, but his goal record, yes, he struggled with COVID, illness, etc. He'll really want to get a goal this evening.
Free kick to Crystal Palace. Palace, who before tonight had only conceded 1 goal in their previous 3 Premier League games, but there have been times this season when they've been overrun. Liverpool beat them 7-0, of course. Aston Villa beat them 3-0. Roy Hodgson, I think, we've sort of alluded to it earlier, Michael, but he'll be pleased that they haven't let the heads drop with that goal from John Stones, and Palace are still working very hard here. They haven't given up.
Yeah, they've not, and I do believe that's what he's instilled for some period of time now in this Crystal Palace side. They might not always be in games, but they keep going. They understand what the manager expects for them, and you talk about age, you talk about the experience that they are, and they've got to look at that. You don't just go and replace the whole network, the whole system that they've got. It's such a big for Crystal Palace, where they go and do they keep some of these players and offer them new deals.
If you include Michy Batshuayi, who's on loan from Chelsea, there are 19 players of the current 30-man first-team squad at Crystal Palace whose contracts expire at the end of the season, as does Roy Hodgson's. There's going to be a lot of paperwork to be done at Selhurst Park over the summer. Joel Ward makes an interception for Palace, but all he can do is lay the ball to Gabriel Jesus, who, back at the City team tonight, relatively quiet. Considering City have had so much possession, they've not been able to produce opportunities for Gabriel Jesus. 1 header on target, straight at Guaita. Here is Ruben Diaz back near the halfway line, Zinchenko alongside him, and he'll roll it along the ground to goal scorer John Stones. City operating at a walking pace. Stones to Kyle Walker, back into the middle to Fernandinho, scored against Manchester United in that recent League Cup semi-final win at Old Trafford. Last touch there, I thought came off Walker, but the referee says no, it came off Eze. Throw into Manchester City. Jordan Ayew's not running comfortably, picked up a knock very early in the game, picked up another sting there, and he's visibly grimacing. I hope he can make it through to half-time. Still 4.5 minutes of normal time to go. They can assess him then. Here is Fernandinho, crossing from the right-hand side, too high for little Raheem Sterling, headed out of the penalty area by Gary Cahill. Cahill, who's had many battles, of course, with City in the past, particularly in his Chelsea days. Now Zinchenko, left wing for Manchester City. Infield to Raheem Sterling, edge of the penalty area. Back out to Zinchenko, now infield to De Bruyne. City keeping the ball moving. That's a brilliant ball. De Bruyne into the box. Sterling tried to take it with him, and Tompkins hikes it out of play, and a throw-in for City on the far side. De Bruyne timed and weighted that pass just perfect.
Yeah, it was, and Raheem Sterling is desperate to get in key areas. He's also, we mentioned, desperate for a goal. 2 goals in the last 15 appearances from Raheem Sterling. He'd generally be well on his way for a successful sort of goal return. It's been slightly disappointing, that return. We expect a little bit better from him.
And he's somebody who has hardly missed a game in the Premier League this season. He's played in all but one of them, and yet last season's top scorer has only scored twice in his last 15 games in all competitions. Ayew here for Palace wins possession on the halfway line, runs into Fernandinho, fouled by the Brazilian. Free kick to Palace. bang on the halfway
I think everybody can hear the reaction there, whether they felt that Lee Mason, the referee, got that one correct, and it was a soft one. He took a few challenges that we just mentioned, haven't we? That he'd be feeling sorry for himself, playing at the top of the pitch, wondering where can he get some support, can he get a chance, can he get something rather than just sort of filling holes. Difficult position to play when you've got no possession.
6:06 coming up this evening at the end of the live football. We'll be with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton around 9 p.m. or so. As Joel Ward takes the free kick for Palace, hanging high into the penalty area. Bernardo Silva defends it well. James MacArthur will play it back to Tyreek Mitchell. Palace could do with a spell of possession in their opponent's half. Eze tries a little flick, doesn't come off. MacArthur won't get possession. Kyle Walker tries to clear, and the last touch goes off MacArthur, and that will be a City throw. City lead 1-0.
I've been looking forward to see Tyreek Mitchell, to see how he gets on, see how he moves his feet, and he's been under some pressure, hasn't he, down the right hand side for Bernardo Silva, and I think his body lines look really good. I think he's really shifting and understanding and being patient, so I think he's done well so far.
By the way, if you're an American football fan, NFL divisional playoff game between Cleveland Browns and Kansas City Chiefs is on Sports Extra right now. Tomorrow night we've got commentary of Arsenal against Newcastle United in the Premier League, and then on Tuesday there's that delayed FA Cup third round game. We'll have commentary of Southampton against Shrewsbury Town, and then Wednesday night back here at the Etihad for that Manchester City against Aston Villa rearranged game. Free kick to City here, taken by Fernandinho. The clock ticks on. We've got 90 seconds remaining of the regulation 45 minutes of this first half, a first half in which Manchester City have taken the lead. A header from John Stones. Zinchenko has possession here for City, midway inside the Crystal Palace half, gives it to the left wing. Raheem Sterling fancies a run, and Joel Ward leaves him for dust, gets to the byline, but the low cross is hooked away, and Milivojevic puts it out for a City throw.
Joel Ward was scampering to get back there, the pace of Raheem Sterling as he drove towards the line. But again, Crystal Palace had numbers, they had blockers, they're defending that zone as well as they can. It's how can they get out, how can they create something themselves. They'll just want to get in now. Half time just approaching. They'll be relatively pleased. Yes, they won't want to concede it, but they've limited City to only a few opportunities.
Yeah, 1-0, it is absolutely all to play for, particularly with Palace having a good record in recent seasons against City. Zinchenko here brings it back to Ruben Diaz. With a soft pass for Stones, but he gets there ahead of Jordan Ayew. Back out to Diaz. City have possession on the halfway line. 1-0 they lead. Walker to De Bruyne, whose cross assisted the goal for John Stones. And here is the goal scorer in possession inside the centre circle. By the way, as we move into 1 minute being added on for stoppages, earlier on today Motherwell won, Rangers won in the Scottish Premiership. Rangers came from behind to earn a point, restoring their 21-point lead over Celtic. Rangers' sequence of 15 successive wins has come to an end with that draw. Free kick to Palace for a foul on Eze by Kyle Walker. It's just inside their own half. This will be the last chance of the first half, last chance for Palace to try and force an equaliser.
Well, for me, I know it's so far away, but they might as well stick it right in the penalty box. City, as we know, the line is going to be really, really high. Can someone run past it? They'll retreat. It's all about the quality of the ball. It's going to do really well to get him from here, but why not try? City
holding a high line here to keep the Palace players well outside the penalty area. Tyreek Mitchell floats it forward. I think that was softer than he intended it to be. Fernandinho heads it away. Raheem Sterling will scamper after it down the left wing. Up against him was James McCarthy, and the referee decides that will be that for the first half. So Manchester City lead Crystal Palace at the break. They will be joining Leicester City on 35 points as it stands, and really not much to write home about in that first 45 minutes, apart from a world-class cross from Kevin De Bruyne. When you have a player like him in your team, everything is possible, Michael.
Everything is possible. It's a pleasure yet again to watch it firsthand as he gets the ball out of his feet. He had no right to deliver a pass like that. I would say it's a controlled, steady away performance from City, who had all the possession, should have maybe created more opportunities at the top of the pitch. A little bit of that of late we've seen from City. Full credit to Palace. They tried to be organised without key players, but City to take that control in this first half.
Yeah, it's a real collector's item. It's a John Stones Premier League goal for Manchester City, and at the break, City lead Palace by a 1-0. Emma. Thanks very much, Emma. Manchester City leading Crystal Palace by a 1-0. No changes in personnel over the break as Gabriel Jesus comes on the first attack of the second half, and he's challenged roughly by Gary Cahill, and he's going to need some treatment. So right after kick-off for the second half, we're going to have a little delay here. Gabriel Jesus had the wind beaten out of him there as Cahill came thundering across, and they both collided on the edge of the penalty area. Just on Mesut Ozil, Michael, I remember going to Bulgaria a few years ago, back when we used to go places, and I remember watching Mesut Ozil score a goal for Arsenal against Ludogorets, and it was just incredible. I mean, we've seen a brilliant assist tonight from Kevin De Bruyne. It was one of those things where you just go, that is world class. There are a tiny number of players in the world who can do. When he was good, he was very, very good, Mesut Ozil.
Oh, he was an amazing player, wasn't he? And it's just a shame everybody tried and it didn't seem to work him out in the end.
Right, Gabriel Jesus is okay to continue. Manchester City have it with De Bruyne on the left-hand side. He's got several teammates in the middle. He drills in a low ball which comes off Tyreek Mitchell. Could have gone anywhere actually. Fortunately for Palace, it pops into the arms of the goalkeeper Vicente Guaita. So the teams, Manchester City, 4 changes from the team that beat Brighton here on Wednesday. Edison's in goal. Kyle Walker's in at right back instead of João Cancelo, who's on the bench. Ruben Diaz, John Stones, who scored the only goal so far tonight, and Alexander Zinchenko complete the back 4. 3 in the midfield, Kevin De Bruyne, Fernandinho, Ilkay Gundogan, and 3 up top, Bernardo Silva, Gabriel Jesus, Raheem Sterling. And the Crystal Palace team, which shows 3 changes from the side that drew at Arsenal on Thursday. No Kouyaté, no Benteke, and no Zaha tonight. The players who come in, Cahill, McCarthy and Jordan Ayew. Give you a full rundown of the team in just a moment, but De Bruyne's coming forward here for City. Plays a good pass out to Raheem Sterling, who's on the right wing. He steps into the penalty area up against Mitchell, goes through Mitchell, into the box, goes Sterling, down he goes, he wants a penalty. Referee Lee Mason wasn't far away from that at all and says no foul, no penalty.
It was better from Sterling, wasn't it? This time he's changed, he's gone to the right hand side, gone to ask questions. Tyreek Mitchell, he fakes to cross the ball, cuts back on his left, just as it looked like it was going to open up. He was sort of half tripped, he stumbled and then fell down. I don't know if we're going to have a look at it, but we'll soon see.
He's so good at doing that, isn't he, Sterling? Turning smartly and accelerating as he does so, and he can turn defenders inside out. And City have changed their formation a little bit at the moment. De Bruyne is operating almost like a number 10 in behind Gabriel Jesus, and then you've got Sterling on the right wing, and Bernardo Silva has come to the left wing, so they've swapped the wings of the wide players as Manchester City look to build on their already 1-goal lead. The Palace team, quite to the goalkeeper, back 4, Ward, Tompkins, Cahill and Mitchell. 3 in the middle of the midfield, Milivojevic, McCarthy and MacArthur. Andros Townsend's been wide right, Enrique Eze has been wide left, and Jordan Ayew has been up top, but Palace have not been able to muster together a single threatening shot at Edison's goal so far, as the ball goes out for a City throw right down below us, and a throw for the home side, left hand side as they come forward. Bernardo Silva sends it all the way back into his own half to Ruben Diaz, and on his right shoulder is John Stones. Still the same formation for Palace, with Jordan Ayew rather isolated up front. And how are they going to try and get back into this game, do you think, Mike?
Just looking at the midfield 3, we talk about Milivojevic, MacArthur, just there. Milivojevic coming out, he's trying to press, trying to go to the furthest. Normally he'd be the one sitting. At this point he's gone right onto Fernandinho, he's stepped forward. It's leaving the 2 central defenders with no screen. They've got to look after Gabriel Jesus, so it's a little bit more advanced, but you would expect a little bit more as it progresses into this second half.
Here is Zinchenko back to the halfway line to Ruben Diaz. Fernandinho dropping back to be the deepest lying Manchester City player. Reminder that if City win this, they go second in the table tonight with the game in hand. They would be 2 points behind Manchester United. That's after United's 0-0 draw at Anfield earlier on today. Tottenham won at Bramall Lane. And as things stand, Tottenham are up into 4th position at the moment ahead of this game. If City hold on for the win here, Spurs will drop back to 5th. Some title race we have, though. You're going to have, 4 points between the top 5 teams. There's much missing this season, but one thing that is going to be there is a title race, it seems.
We're not mentioning Leicester City, do you know how well they've done, and it's so tight, brilliant really, and
Everton not too far behind either, by the way. Everton level with City ahead of kick-off tonight.
Everton had the taste right towards the top, so whoever seemed to have jumped on the top have struggled, so Manchester United finally getting there, going to Liverpool to get that point. They'll be quietly confident. They'll be delighted with that result.
Corner to Manchester City. We're not missing any action here. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be very pleased with that point. It just keeps the upward momentum going for his team. Right, let's see what Kevin De Bruyne can do here. Corner to City, right hand side, swings it in. Referee's whistle blew immediately as soon as it had been played. Now what's that all about?
There was some pushing in the centre. You're trying to get the space. 3 for 3. You see Cahill, Tompkins, Stones and Diaz, Milivojevic coming over with Fernandinho. Good battle.
Right, take 2 for Kevin De Bruyne. Much movement in a busy, congested penalty area. Here it comes, short run up, right-footed delivery. Fernandinho was close to it, couldn't get the clean connection. And James McCarthy will clear away. McCarthy, the former Everton player who played against Arsenal on Thursday. That was his first Premier League appearance since early November. In the starting 11 tonight. Gundogan here has collided with Milivojevic. Both players are hurt. Free kick has been awarded to Crystal Palace. Still Manchester City lead 1-0.
Do you know, as the play stops now, you look at the aging squad at Crystal Palace are sort of developing. Joel Ward, McCarthy, Andros Townsend. I've played with them all, Connor.
Yeah. They must be old, Michael.
That tells you. They're getting on a bit.
Yeah, Gary Cahill, who turned 35 last month as well. But, they have had the oldest average age this season, mind you. As I've said, previously at 5 Live, when your coach is 74 next birthday, he thinks they're all spring chickens. These guys in their early to mid 30s. But
the intelligence of an older player who are seasoned, they understand what he gets from his side. So it's hard to put a load of young players to accept you've got to play in this style.
Manchester City lead Palace by a goal to 0 here. Goal for Palace would make things very interesting. However, it doesn't look likely at the moment. They have not been applying any pressure at all on Edison's goal. Here is MacArthur winning the ball in the midfield up to Andros Townsend. Very good tackle by Ruben Diaz on him, and City get it back immediately. Fernandinho ran into the referee, Lee Mason, there.
He's going to get some stick for that. He bounced off Lee Mason.
Tell you what, Lee Mason did not flinch. Lee Mason was like an anchor there. Fernandinho ran into him and bounced off it. Here is Sterling on the attack for Manchester City on the right hand side, flashes in across just in front of Bernardo Silva and flashes through the penalty area and out for a throw in on the near side.
Opposite wide player coming into the box, Raheem Sterling pushes it out, delivers it in that corridor between goalkeeper 6-yard area. That's one for Bernardo Silva, but when you don't do it all of the time, you don't always go and make that run. You expected it to be cut back, and he doesn't get there, and there was a goal for him.
Yeah, it's a day when all the talk in the build-up to Premier League action today was on events at Anfield, but actually the biggest story today could be here at the Etihad and Manchester City continuing their almost stealth-like prowl back into the title race. They had not been in the top 4 this season up until this week. They could be in top position by next weekend. Here is Joel Ward, closed down by Bernardo Silva. Gundogan will pounce upon it here. Attacking position down the left for City, challenged by Ward. Ball goes off Gundogan and out for a Crystal Palace throw. Still Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace now.
We're just seeing a great picture of Roy Hodgson sat back in his seat, this hand on his chin, sort of thinking, what do I do next? When do I make these substitutions? And it's a great shot. He's always thinking, and he'll know exactly where this game wants to be and when he wants to try and open up, go for it, make substitutions. He's been there so many times, experience, and to have that desire, it's great to see that he's still going.
And Roy Hodgson, who has won 3 Premier League matches as a manager against Manchester City in the past, and all 3 of those wins did come here at the Etihad. 1-0 his team trail for now. Zinchenko passes it back to the well-wrapped-up Edison Moraes away to our right-hand side, who his last 2 appearances against Palace here at the Stadium Edison, he conceded 5 goals in total. A relatively quiet evening for him so far. Zinchenko into Fernandinho. City are doing this little neat triangular passing to work their way out of their own penalty area, and it's brave, and once or twice a season it goes wrong and they concede an absolute howler of a goal, but it's lovely to watch.
Yeah, it's great to watch, and have the confidence to keep doing it. Triangles in your own penalty area, and now the build-up's good and sucks Crystal Palace in.
Here comes Kyle Walker down the right wing for Manchester City. Palace quickly getting players back behind the ball. Kevin De Bruyne sees no easy pass forward, so he'll turn and give it back to goal scorer tonight, John Stones. 4 Champions League goals he's got in the past for City, but tonight his first Premier League goal for the club. As Bernardo Silva, that's a great pass outside of the left boot to De Bruyne, and he's closed down by Joel Ward out for a corner to Manchester City on the left hand side. If they get the second goal, I think it's game over, Michael, but for now still 1-0.
Yeah, but that's there. Zinchenko opens up with his left foot and he's hesitant to put the ball in, just like Raheem Sterling done. He didn't want to do it, and sort of uncertainty at times. Again, we're here now, set piece, that sort of 3v3 at the edge of the area could be key.
Here comes the delivery, Bernardo Silva swinging it in. Milivojevic heads away for Palace. Gundogan gets it back on the edge of the area. Right-footed shot is brilliant! Ilkay Gundogan has scored one of the goals of this Premier League weekend. That was some strike, and on a night when he's had some uncertain touches and some of his passes have gone astray, he has hit that like an arrow. Super goal. Manchester City lead Palace 2-0.
Well, they cleared the lines really, really well, Crystal Palace, but it's just under Andros Townsend. They couldn't get it away. Gundogan just nicks it, takes a touch. He brings it back on his right foot under pressure. 4 Crystal Palace players coming to him. You questioned it, Connor. You questioned that quality. Commentators curse. He puts it right into the far top corner, outside the area. It curls all the way round into the top corner. Brilliant finish. The celebration was all there until Fernandinho said, "Hold your horses. Keep a little bit of distance, please."
Social distancing celebrations as Manchester City make it very tight and very undistanced inside the top 4 of the Premier League as they make their prowl now towards the summit. 2-0 to Manchester City. Palace in big trouble now. Nothing that Vicente Guaita could do about that. I mean, that's one of those goals that when it's hit like that, it stays hit. There was no goalkeeper saving it.
Postage stamp, top left corner. I mean, you just know as he hits it, all the players in front of the goalkeeper. It goes all the way round. It's a fabulous finish. I mean, we've seen some quality, haven't we, there? How dare you question his right foot, Connor?
That's a couple of times you brought that up now, Michael. I'm going to have words to say in a moment. De Bruyne's corner from the right-hand side. Ruben Diaz tries to hit it. He miscues. And Eze tries to counter-attack for Palace. That's a good ball in front of Andros Townsend. A very good ball. Townsend breaks into the City half. Raheem Sterling, here's the defender back challenging him. Townsend shrugs him off. Sends a crossfield ball to McArthur. He's got McCarthy with him. Just on the edge of the penalty area here. Palace, who've suddenly found a new interest in attacking. Now they're 2-0 down. Ward plays a good ball into the penalty area. Ayew shoots and it comes off Diaz and out for a corner. That's the best attacking play we've seen from Palace in the game so far. In my defence, Michael, we did say he'll go and score a worldie now, but by his standards those passes were poor.
I don't know if I mentioned you questioning his right foot, Connor.
I don't think you mentioned it enough.
We said he'd get another chance, and if he did, he'd be ready for it. Would he get that opportunity? Wait till everybody sees it, and then you realise if he pulls it out, and just audacity to try it, and the execution was brilliant.
Okay, Gundogan was Pep Guardiola's first signing for Manchester City. Corner here for Palace. Cahill got up and won a header. Tompkins heads it as well, but they're just headers up into the air. They're not threatening here. Gabriel Jesus tries to run the ball out of the Manchester City penalty area, and it goes out of play. Bad news for Crystal Palace, trailing 2-0 here, is that it might be about to get more difficult. Manchester City are preparing to bring on their top goal scorer in all competitions this season. Phil Foden is about to be introduced. Palace 2-0 down.
And coming on at 2-0, and the gaps start to appear. Crystal Palace trying to come back into this game. Foden will want more goals. Bernardo Silva coming off. That's the one he's going to replace. That's the position he'll want to go and play. He's had some joy of late. He'll be pushing all the way, and the energy he has, we know for all to see. Bernardo Silva, I think, has had a steady game so far as well.
Yeah, Bernardo Silva got 2 goals against Birmingham in the FA Cup last weekend, makes way. And on comes Phil Foden, who also scored in that match against Birmingham in the Cup. He scored in his last 2 games. Also scored against Brighton in midweek. And he is City's top scorer this season now. 8 goals to his name, Phil Foden. Still just 20 years of age. Much talk in the build-up. I think many people with their fantasy football hats on were concerned he wasn't in the starting 11 tonight. but he's become a very important player for Manchester City, to the point that it's big news now when he's not in the team, which I think that's the biggest compliment you can play a young player.
Well, he's earning the right, isn't he? That's what he's doing. Everybody's talking about it. Pep Guardiola seems to be managing it in the right way. You'd have expected him to start more last season as well, but now he's starting to get in a more advanced role as well. I would have expected when we see him coming into the team with the three-man midfield.
De Bruyne here sends a pass to Foden. Oh, and he was running so fast he fell over. He had to stretch to control the ball. First touch since coming on was to sprint after a brilliant ball from De Bruyne. Phil Foden lost his footing, and Palace are able to clear the ball away. Manchester City 2, Crystal Palace 0. Pep Guardiola's birthday tomorrow. Big one, turns 50. It'll be a happy birthday so far as things stand here.
Similar to you, Connor? Or?
How dare you? How absolutely dare you? I've a long way to go to reach that.
I know, but I'm only joking.
That's said far too condescendingly. No, Pep Guardiola is much older than me. You're the same age as me. I'm about to Google you. You're older than me. Excellent. You're older than me. Fantastic. Old man Michael Brown with us tonight on 5 Live. Love it. Here is De Bruyne into the centre circle, controlled by Gundogan, the scorer of a magnificent goal here to make it 2-0 to Manchester City. Plays a second 1-2 with Foden, and then runs into Tompkins, and Palace can't hold on to possession when they briefly won it back there. Manchester City are turning the screw here. They have the 2 goals. They brought on Foden, and they really are running Palace ragged as De Bruyne gives it short to Raheem Sterling. This could still be a very successful season for Pep Guardiola, still involved in the League Cup. They'll play Tottenham in the final. They are still in the FA Cup, and of course Champions League resumes not too far into the future either. Here is De Bruyne, has a go, and just wide of the target. He was about 7 or 8 yards outside the penalty area. He tried to pick his spot, and it just bent away from the post. It remains City 2, Palace 0.
The different clubs he has in his bag. Kevin De Bruyne can go for the powerful one. The near curl, he sort of tries to give Guaita the eyes. Just fizzes it past the right hand side. You'd have expected him to go the other side. It was fantastic yet again. 2 arms are raised, Pep Guardiola clapping, and rightly so.
Yeah, I think Guardiola is pleased with what he's seeing here. His team have been very dominant. There's been no scares at the back at all for Ederson, and that is the way Guardiola likes it this season. For Gundogan, it's now 4 goals in his last 6 Premier League games, which is very good going for him. De Bruyne on the halfway line. Options all over the place. Chooses a very simple one. Rolls it to John Stones, the scorer of Manchester City's opening goal tonight. He'll give it to the right hand side to Kyle Walker. Walker back to goalkeeper Ederson. A rare touch for the Brazilian.
It's amazing, he has to step forward, and all he does is just touch it to the centre back. I think one of the questions you can ask him down in the interviews afterwards, Connor, if you get to speak to Ederson, what has he actually got on under there? How many layers?
He has got well wrapped up warm tonight. As we joked in the first half, I think he was aware that he wouldn't exactly be sweating rivers this evening, that he would be standing and spectating much of this game, and that is how it's panned out. Mind you, he's got a bit of competition now, doesn't he? I mean, Ederson, who's been a fantastic goalkeeper, and I'm sure his place isn't in doubt or anything, but Zach Steffen, the USA goalkeeper who's come in and has played a few games recently, played in the League Cup and played in played the Chelsea game and played in the FA Cup as well. He looks very good, Steffen.
It's worked really well for Manchester City that they've come through those games with the results, so they've been able to blood him, get him in some better opportunities if needed again, and it's not hurt them.
De Bruyne to Sterling on the right wing for Manchester City here. If you're just tuning our way, Manchester City 2, Crystal Palace 0. A weakened Crystal Palace team, I think it has to be said, with no Zaha, no Kouyaté, no Benteke in the starting 11. As jumping here is Zinchenko, and he doesn't get a clean touch in it at all. That was poor from Zinchenko. The ball goes out for a goal kick to Palace away to our left hand side. There's some movement amongst the Crystal Palace substitutes. I see Riedewald there is taking off his warm coat. Looks like he's about to be the next to be introduced. On a night that was always going to be difficult for Crystal Palace here away at Manchester City. De Bruyne makes an interception, and the ball goes out of play on the far side for a throw in to Crystal Palace. 6:06 coming up with Robbie and Chris 0808 5909 693 is the number if you want to get involved. We've got more commentaries in the coming days here on 5 Live. Arsenal against Newcastle tomorrow. Mark Chapman will have a mini Monday Night Club in the build-up to that one. Tuesday, FA Cup action. Southampton against Shrewsbury. That game, which was originally called off an FA Cup third-round weekend, gets rescheduled for Tuesday. And we'll be back here at the Etihad on 5 Live on Wednesday. Live Premier League commentary of Manchester City against Aston Villa. Villa, who were beaten in the last game against Manchester United, but had a very good December, Aston Villa, so that Dean Smith was named Premier League Manager of the Month for December. And it'll be interesting to see how they fare here against Manchester City on Wednesday. Gundogan in possession for City, turns and gives it back to Zinchenko. It is all City possession here. Crystal Palace, Michael, chasing shadows a bit at the moment.
Yeah, they are. It's difficult. No wonder they're looking to the bench, trying to sort of stop this rot. Now City confident, you know how they can see games out. Everybody wants the ball, they're winning, they're comfortable. You take a risk if they want to. It's demoralising when you're playing against it, when there's always somebody. As a midfield player, you want it to get tight to somebody, but with the setup and the movement, there's always an option for City players.
Palace, who haven't scored tonight, didn't score against Arsenal on Thursday, didn't score against Wolves at the weekend, so it could be 3 games without a goal for Roy Hodgson's side, but always made more difficult without Zaha, of course. Here is Ruben Diaz playing a direct ball forward, controlled with the shoulder by Gabriel Jesus. Well, he tried to control with the shoulder, but it popped away from him and into the arms of the goalkeeper, Guaita, away to our left-hand side. What have you made of Gabriel Jesus' performance tonight? Because we've not mentioned his name often, Michael, more in the moment, because here comes Sterling into the penalty area, down the right-hand side, tries to catch the keeper unawares. It's blocked out for a corner anyway. I think he tried to squeeze that into the near post. Good defending. And it's put out by Milivojevic, I think, out for a Manchester City corner.
Yeah, again, Kevin De Bruyne just pinching the ball as Raheem Sterling goes into the area. Patience was there. Good recovery by Milivojevic. I thought, just as you mentioned, Gabriel Jesus, it was going to get cut back to him for trying to stroke the ball into the sort of the far post.
Only 1 goal in his last 10 games before this evening for Gabriel Jesus. Here's Stones again, and he's done it again! 2 goals for John Stones! Manchester City get their 3rd of the evening, and having waited years and years to score a Premier League goal for Manchester City, John Stones gets 2 in 1 game. It fell to him between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box after Ruben Diaz's original header came back off the goalkeeper. It's a good finish from Stones, left-footed, and 3-0 now for Manchester City.
Oh, incredible that he gets another goal. I thought Diaz would be a threat from set pieces. He rose really, really well and got first contact, good save. But Stones, natural striker now that he is, he just caresses the ball into the far corner.
He's on a hat-trick now.
He's on a hat-trick. Imagine. Surely not.
His 171st Premier League game. He had only ever scored once in the Premier League before tonight. That was back in his Everton days. Tonight, John Stones has got his first 2 Premier League goals for Manchester City. 3-0 now. Surely no coming back from this for Roy Hodgson's team. We've still got a quarter of the game to go, but Crystal Palace can't get a kick at the moment, let alone 3 goals. Foden miscontrols, then Guardiola behind him miscontrols, and it's going to be a throw-in to Crystal Palace just down below us. City 3, Crystal Palace 0. This will help City's goal difference as well, which is going to be important with many teams on a similar goal difference level in the title race now. City's goal difference will be plus 15, Tottenham's is plus 16, Liverpool's plus 16, Leicester plus 12, Manchester United only on plus 10, which is some way behind the other title challenges at the moment. More activity down below us, and Pep Guardiola's about to bring on a double substitution. João Cancelo's getting ready.
Would it be the 2 players who've had the COVID situation, Kyle Walker possibly, and Gabriel Jesus? We'll see. Obviously coming back, play part when they've obviously had the virus. Don't want to play too much if you can help it.
This has all gone very well for Pep Guardiola so far. Go to bed last night if you told him Liverpool and Manchester United will take points off each other and City could win 3-0, he would definitely have taken that. As Ayew comes over the halfway line for Palace and tries to pass it to Eze. He's had a very quiet second half. Palace have struggled to get this wonder kid in the game. Loose pass is well held onto by MacArthur. He wasn't favourite to win that, and he did against Gundogan. Palace will always show up for the physical side of the game, but they have been outclassed tonight. The quality of Manchester City shining through. Gundogan's goal was brilliant. Stones' first, an excellent cross from De Bruyne. And Manchester City working their way towards 3 points now. Tompkins gives away possession with a very poor ball forward, and Palace have just, that transition, turning, when they win possession in defence, turning that into an attack has just proved impossible for them in this game so far. So here come the changes, and Gundogan is going to be the first to leave the field. So Gundogan goes off. Two players coming on are João Cancelo and Ferran Torres, and Kevin De Bruyne is the other one. So Pep Guardiola with a chance to wrap up two of his important players in cotton wool ahead of that Villa game here on Wednesday. So who's going to play where? City have got João Cancelo and Kyle Walker on the pitch, and it looks like what's going to happen here?
Yeah, Torres just going to go into the middle of the pitch.
João Cancelo's playing in midfield. Torres on the left wing here, and João Cancelo's playing in the middle of the midfield.
It looks like he's gone in. It's just that sort of midfield player going to run around.
Yeah, interesting.
You can do that when you have a couple of goal lead.
You can. Here is Eze, midway inside the Manchester City half. Palace trailing 3-0 at the Etihad, 19 minutes to play. Eze gives it to James McCarthy, near the touchline on the right hand side, forward to Andros Townsend. Eze involved again, back out to Townsend, surrounded by a swarm of light blue jerseys. Zinchenko puts it out for a throw in to Crystal Palace. Difficult for Palace, this, really difficult. Ward takes the throw, short to Eze, immediately won back by Foden. Foden's attempted clearance comes off the Palace player, and that will be a throw into Manchester City.
Obviously now the change around, that three-man midfield, Fernandinho just at the base, that protector. Phil Foden's come off the left-hand side and made up the three-man midfield. It's an opportunity for him now. It's an area that you feel long-term that's where he's going to be. So now in a comfy position, controlling the game. Cancelo being on the right-hand side is the confusing one that I'm sure a couple of people didn't see that he'd make that substitution.
It's a poor clearance there by Zinchenko, putting his teammates under pressure. Eze though can't pounce upon it on the edge of the City penalty area. Zinchenko gets another chance to clear, calming ball this time to Diaz, who'll give it back to the goalkeeper Edison. So Manchester City set to continue what's been a 100% record so far in 2021. This time last year they also started with 4 wins out of 4, and then they were held to a draw in their 5th match, which was against none other than Crystal Palace. Tonight is City's 5th game of 2021, and they lead 3-0. They're not going to fail to win this one, you wouldn't think, as Joel Ward, under pressure from Gabriel Jesus, clears away. They could have gone for a corner, it actually hit the corner flag and went out on the side of a throw-in. So throw-in to City, attacking position down the left-hand side. Zinchenko will come forward to take it. The clock ticks on, and we've got 17 minutes to play now. Zinchenko throws it short to Gabriel Jesus. Cross left foot from the Ukrainian international, cleared away by Gary Cahill, and then Riedewald's come on for Palace. Townsend veers away from the trouble in front of him in the shape of Zinchenko, and Crystal Palace will win a throw-in midway inside the Manchester City half. They're not giving up, Palace. They still have the energy, even though Townsend's a bit disgruntled. He can't take the throw-in a bit quicker. He's trying to inject pace into the team, but so difficult now. Such has been the dominance of Manchester City in the game.
It's so difficult, and they know full well that there could be more to come. The Crystal Palace players now are, unfortunately, you want to try and get back in this game. You want to try and set some sort of standard, try and make something happen. I think a few of them will be thinking, let's get back on the bus and let's blow the whistle. Yeah. It doesn't happen, but as a player you're demoralised. You know you're not going to get back into it. So difficult.
Yeah, we didn't mention actually, it was Milivojevic was the player who went off to allow Riedewald to come on. He was a player, Milivojevic, who if he did pick up a yellow card here would miss Crystal Palace's next game against West Ham, so that might have been part of the thinking from Roy Hodgson to give him an early bath. Do the players still have baths? Do they have showers and baths? I mean, who knows these days? For all I know, they probably get on the I don't mean ever, I just want to be immediately after the game.
Yeah, in the City dressing room they've got like a big hydro.
No, but I mean in these COVID times, I'm sure they're not all inside the hydro pool sharing the bath water there. I mean, what I'm wondering is, do they have communal washing facilities, or do they just go home and do it themselves? I don't know the answer to that.
I think training facilities, they have to go home, but yeah. I'm sure on a game day they'll jump in the showers as normal.
Yeah, I know many of the Premier League grounds, they've built these temporary prefabricated changing rooms for the visiting teams, sometimes in the concourse of stadiums, sometimes in the car parks. But these are all very strange times we're living in. Manchester City won't mind if the results keep coming. And they still continue to compete across the 4 competitions that they do this season. Quarter of an hour to play at the Etihad. 6:06 coming up very shortly with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. You can book your call on 5 Live now. Get in touch on social media as well. The hashtag BBC606. Much to discuss today. Tottenham's win, the draw at Anfield between Liverpool and Manchester United, and what is certain to be a win here for Manchester City.
I think the boys will be asking some questions later, won't they? Top of the table, who's going to win it? Is someone going to blow it? Be an entertaining one, I'm sure, with the weekend's results.
You've made the point already, Michael. So far this season, any team that has gone top has ended up getting a nosebleed and has fallen away. Here is Ayew. Tries to make a little burst towards the penalty area, gets into the box. Fernandinho challenges him, and there is a huge appeal for a Crystal Palace penalty, but it falls on deaf ears. And Lee Mason says no penalty. VAR will look in the background, of course, but no penalty for Crystal Palace there.
Yeah, it was a great run, wasn't it? Just as you get it away. I think it was Fernandinho's tackle. The recovery was really good, and Mason looked at it. Unless we see something different, we finally thought they were going to get that opportunity. It's been tough now this second half on Manchester City. Took these extra goals, now just moving the ball around, so comfortable.
Elsewhere tonight, games across Europe taking place. Inter Milan are leading Juventus by a goal to 0 in Serie A. Barcelona play Athletic Bilbao in the Spanish Super Cup final tonight. I think that will be coming towards half-time. Messi back for Barcelona, having missed the semi-final here at the Etihad. 3-0, fully dominant for Manchester City. John Stones with 2 of the goals, Gundogan with the other one. And it has been a very stable night for Pep Guardiola. No drama ahead of his 50th birthday tomorrow. Here is Phil Foden, plays a 1-2 with João Cancelo in the midfield. City just passing for fun here. Ayew up top for Crystal Palace. Everyone else back in a defensive role. Batshuayi is being prepared to come on. Wonder if it will be Ayew who comes off to allow the Belgian to come on. With Diaz back to John Stones.
Do you know, you talk about Pep Guardiola. I've seen an amazing message to a friend of mine who's seriously unwell at the moment. It was a remarkable message of support for him and the family, and not everybody sees these type of things that people like Pep Guardiola go and do, and I was touched by the message. A real close friend of mine, and wonderful that he did it with such such style as well, and great to see, and that's the special things that I mentioned.
Credit where it's due. Absolutely. Manchester City 3, Crystal Palace 0 here at the Etihad. As Kyle Walker sends a high crossfield ball that lands on the instep of Zinchenko. He's challenged by Townsend, and the ball goes out of play for a throw-in. So this will allow the change, and it will be Townsend who'll depart the field. So it's going to be 2 up top for Crystal Palace as they try to muster some sort of a late comeback here. And Michy Batshuayi, who hasn't scored this season, will come on ahead of Townsend. Townsend doesn't look very happy. Look at him down there. He is, so is any player leaving the field 3-0 down, but body language not great from Townsend there. Well, when I say not great, I don't blame him for it. And probably what Palace fans want to see is the players upset in these circumstances. But he's not happy. Here is Fernandinho inside the centre circle. Back to John Stones. Kyle Walker on the right-hand side. Manchester City, coming into this game today, had 32 points on the board after 16 Premier League games, the exact same tally that they had at this stage last year. But as everyone's been saying, you're not going to need as many points this season to win the Premier League as Liverpool racked up last season. Here is Ward into Riedewald, back out to Joel Ward. He plays it right-footed up towards Batshuayi. First touch for him since coming on. Nice feet. Gives it back to MacArthur. Then under pressure from Gabriel Jesus, Palace retreats. Tompkins to Ward. Ferran Torres tries to close him down. It's probably about as many passes in succession as Crystal Palace have put together in the game. They're back with Tompkins again. But it's damage limitation at this stage as McCarthy goes long, looking for Batshuayi. Header comfortably won back by Manchester City's Ruben Diaz. Sterling gives it to Fernandinho. Chip over the top to Ferran Torres. No Rodri tonight for Manchester City. As Torres crosses from the left, just too high for Sterling. Mitchell heads it away, only to Gabriel Jesus on the edge of the box, no room for him to shoot. João Cancelo gets a touch, one of the second half substitutes for Manchester City. He gets it back again, then back out to Kyle Walker on the right hand side. João Cancelo's made a good run forward. Gabriel Jesus now has it. This is all short passes from Manchester City players, and they still have the ball in an attacking position. Sterling to Ferran Torres, back to Walker, and now back to the halfway line and John Stones.
They're just toying with Palace, little triangles, moving it back to front, just keeping the ball. So frustrating. Palace are just sitting back in that shape and can't really do anything about it, and this defeat, that just wondering, is there going to be another goal? And it's so demoralising, but someone's got to try and do something. Can a Palace player step out? Can they go and try and win the ball and create something?
As things stand, Crystal Palace 13th place in the Premier League table. They've got a decent buffer ahead of any sort of relegation drama below them. They should be well clear of that. I mean, you can never say never, but they've racked up enough points this season, up to 23 points, which is a full 11 points clear of the relegation zone. But West Ham to come next, and then Wolves, two big games for Roy Hodgson, which they will hope to pick up points. Easier assignments than what they have here tonight. Just getting to see on our monitor here, slow motion replay, the Gundogan goal again. I mean, it's perfect. Top corner, postage stamp corner, superb strike from Ilkay Gundogan, who's watching on from the sidelines now, having been replaced when Cancelo and Ferran Torres came on for City.
I think the disappointment for Crystal Palace supporters will be the lack of sort of pressure on Manchester City. Not really had a goal. That will be the questions will be being asked of Roy Hodgson and his side. Yes, they're missing players, but to not have a shot on target, only 2 shots in the game, that's disappointing. Not to really have more of a goal than they have. Yes, it's been controlled by City. You've got to have a bit more sort of belief than that.
This is set to be an 8th straight win for Manchester City, unbeaten in 15 matches if it stays like this in all competitions. It'll be discussed much on 606 to come in 5 Live. Michael, what's your view? If you had to call it now, who's going to win the Premier League, do you reckon? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I think we're watching them, Connor. I think that's so? The difference. Yeah, I just think, you know, the long term, Liverpool have had their sort of problems now. Manchester United still trying to understand their team, get a little bit better. Yes, they've gone to the top of the league, but the clean sheets and the organisation, strength and depth that Manchester City have. One thing I would say though, need to score more goals, a little bit more clinical for City. If that comes to the party, then I think it will be Manchester City.
Yeah, I think a huge factor, as we discussed in the first half, Aki's injured, Laporte is, I mean, previous seasons when Laporte was injured, City were in huge trouble. The fact they've now got Ruben Diaz, they've got John Stones looking as good as he's ever been in his career. That's, you know, the strength and depth available to Pep Guardiola. That's what Klopp doesn't have. When he loses Gomez and he loses Van Dijk especially, the quality of player to step up aren't as good. Here comes Foden breaking into the penalty area for Manchester City. Out comes wide to the goalkeeper's done well. Foden looking for his 9th goal in all competitions this season for Manchester City. MacArthur inside his own penalty area, clears for Palace here up towards Batshuayi. Michy Batshuayi, almost a substitute for Palace. Riedewald, another of the alterations, has come on. Gives away possession cheaply again. I mean, they really have been completely outfoxed here, Palace. Edison has not had a save to make the entire game, and it's been damage limitation from the get-go from Roy Hodgson's team, without 3 of their most important players, of course, but they have never been in this match. Clock ticks on, 6 minutes of normal time to go. 3-0 Manchester City lead. 606 to come on 5 Live.
It's literally like walking pace now, yeah. Connor, isn't it? That they're just literally saying, okay, do you want to come out and we can pick you off? So frustrating to watch, even to talk about. We want to see more opportunities, some more tempo. City with the amount of games, I think that's what we're going to see different as well, with the amount of games that these top clubs in all competitions are going to be asked to go and play. They're going to conserve energy. Pep mentioned it. They're going to use the squad, they're going to rotate, but for a spectator's point of view, you want to see a little bit more.
Here comes Zinchenko, tries a back heel that doesn't come off. Not the first time he's done that in the game. It was intended for Gabriel Jesus. Palace intercept and clear away, and Ruben Diaz could put the tee on before any pressure would come towards him. He's all on his own, plays it forward. City lose the ball back to Guaita, way to our left hand side. Spanish goalkeeper clears, right footed, up towards the halfway line, up towards Ayew. He's challenged by Zinchenko, and the ball goes out for a Crystal Palace throw-in. Almost done and dusted here. Throw-in from Ward to MacArthur. City still look hungry though, still look like they might get a fourth goal tonight. Could John Stones complete his hat-trick?
Well, we're waiting for it, aren't we? We're waiting for a set piece. We need some sort of set piece opportunity that John Stones can get up there, or a penalty even. Would it be allowed?
See, that in the old days, that is definitely the kind of thing that would happen. Oh, you're on a hat-trick, you can take the penalty.
Well, the situation with penalties for Manchester City at the moment is there for all to see. Kevin De Bruyne didn't step up. He's missed one. Sterling's missed them. So
since the start of last season, Manchester City have missed 7 penalties in the Premier League. 7. 3 of them by Raheem Sterling. I think he's missed his last 3 in a row. I think it says a lot for Sterling's standing in the squad that having missed 2 in a row, they allow him to go up and take another one.
John Stones might put his hand up. He's the one. He's the man of the moment, the scorer, the threat for City.
Tonight only his 9th appearance in the Premier League for John Stones this season, but he has returned to the fore just when Pep Guardiola needed him most. Tonight up against Roy Hodgson, which is interesting because Roy Hodgson gave John Stones his England debut when he was only a kid. He was 20 years of age. City get a free kick right on the edge of the box here. Foul on Ferran Torres, and this is a free kick which is within shooting distance.
It is within shooting distance. I'm just wondering, can he go up? He's walking towards it, he's getting excited. John Stones
going to take it.
I don't think he's going to get near. Raheem Sterling needs a goal. He's grabbed the ball, he's looking for the valve. He's right on the edge of the area. He bounces it, puts it in place. There's only one person going to try and get his shot away, you would think, here.
Speaking of Roy Hodgson giving John Stones his England debut at 20, Roy Hodgson gave Raheem Sterling his England debut when Sterling was only 17. So that was a real show of faith from tonight's opposing manager in a young teenage Raheem Sterling. There's no other City player standing around this. It's going to be Sterling. It's very close. It's right on the edge of the box. He's going to have to go for power here. There isn't enough room to float it over. Here it comes. Raheem Sterling, right-footed. Wow! Into the same corner that Gundogan scored. Raheem Sterling has struck a superb free kick. That was all about the power. He didn't have the flexibility to try and guide it and get dip because the free kick was too close. It had to be a pile driver, and I'll tell you what, it really was. That's a superb strike. Manchester City 4, Crystal Palace 0.
Exact same spot as Gundogan. What a finish. We mentioned, didn't we, 2 goals in the last 15 appearances. He needed that goal to give him the confidence, but the execution, confidence to put the ball down. He wanted it, he delivered, he didn't disappoint. It's as good a free kick as you'll see, right into the top left corner. Guaita, no chance.
Well, if you include his stays at Liverpool, he's now scored 7 goals against Crystal Palace in his career, Raheem Sterling. He's not had many opportunities in open play tonight, but that is as good a free kick as you will see. City come again, looking for a 5th now. Palace just wants to hear the final whistle. Still 90 seconds of normal time to go. 4-0 Manchester City. 2 from Stones, 1 from Gundogan, 1 from Raheem Sterling is on the ball again inside the Palace penalty area. Right hand side, Tariq Mitchell standing up in front of him. Gives it back to Kyle Walker. High, hanging cross towards Gabriel Jesus, and James McCarthy will come away with possession for Crystal Palace, and anywhere will do for them now as they just try to run the clock down and bring this to a halt. But Foden's going to win it back for Manchester City. Here is he? No. Good work by Joel Ward to just about hold on to the ball. Raheem Sterling, he had only scored twice in his last 15 games in all competitions before tonight. As you said, Michael, as soon as the free kick was given, he needed that, and that will do his confidence the world of good now.
I mean, he's not renowned for that type of finish, is he? But it was a brilliant free kick. He sort of hit it with his side foot, that instep, and it was sort of curling and dipping at the same time as it come back over the top and into the top corner. And you could see all the staff below us, the substitutes, all the support staff, all celebrating. You understand what a real good moment it was for Raheem Sterling. He'll have been wanting to get that goal. Great finish.
It's interesting. the positioning of the goalkeeper Guaita. He'd erected his wall to cover the other side. And normally the goalkeeper would then stand in the side that Sterling did hit the shot to. But even though the wall was covering one side, he stood in the middle, and that created a bigger target for Raheem Sterling. I wonder when Guaita looks back at that, will he be pleased with his positioning? And that is to take nothing away from what was a brilliant strike. Absolutely world class.
He might have wanted to be one step over, Conor, like you say. But Diaz and Stones with a two-man wall for City in front of the Crystal Palace wall, trying to sort of stop the view. He might have just gone to have a little look, and at that point it's too late.
Brilliant free kick. 4-0 Manchester City, who are turning up the heat on a day when Liverpool and Manchester United have both dropped points. City are showing their title credentials here as Gabriel Jesus chests the ball out to Zinchenko. We're in stoppage time. Did you see how many minutes were held up there, Michael?
It was two
minutes to be added on. We're almost there. Palace almost out of their misery. Down goes Foden. Another free kick. This one a little bit further out, but an attacking free kick nevertheless, as Manchester City look for their fifth goal.
I think Lee Mason's been a little bit generous on the 2 minutes. He realises that
you've had
no more Crystal Palace have been on the ropes for some time. Joel Ward made a foul earlier, could have easily given him a yellow card. He went and had a little chat with him and sort of say, let you off with that one. I understand the frustration, the position you've been in for a long period of time in this game.
That Simpsons joke, it's like, stop, he's already dead. The Palace are done now. They don't need any more time to be added on. João Cancelo will take the free kick this time, floats it into the box. John Stones on a hat-trick is up there, but it skims away off Ruben Diaz and into the arms of Vicente Guaita. John Stones' hat-trick would just put the cherry on top now for Manchester City. I can't believe he
stopped. The ball fell towards his direction and he thought, oh, that's wasted. Striker's instinct now that he is sort of thinking he is. He could have actually gone a little bit further in towards the goal, and he might have got that little tap in, that toe poke to get a hat-trick. Well, we're asking for things here. Crystal Palace fans won't want to hear that. I think they've showed some sort of stand against it, but it was always going to be too much.
There we go, done and dusted. A very comprehensive win for Pep Guardiola, and of his 50th birthday tomorrow, Manchester City move a very purposeful 3 points up the table. They go level with Leicester City on 35 points, but with a better goal difference, and it means they move into second place now behind Manchester United. And with a game in hand, this title race is getting very interesting indeed. 2 goals from John Stones tonight. Gundogan with the beauty, Raheem Sterling probably with the pick of the bunch, Michael Brown.
Yeah, pick of the bunch. 2 wonderful goals, Gundogan and Raheem Sterling, and 2 for that special talent, John Stones. Finally he's getting these rewards for his hard work since his comeback. Good partnership with Diaz. It was very slow at times, very sort of patient build up from Manchester City. Crystal Palace didn't really offer anything going forward. They set up at the start of the game to limit Manchester City. They did early on, but ultimately Kevin De Bruyne with that right foot, with his 100th Premier League assist, that unlocked the door for City on a very much a convincing win on a great day to close that gap for City.
Alright, thanks very much to Michael Brown. Manchester City dominant. They have beaten Crystal Palace by 4-0, a 5th Premier League win in a row for City, 15 games unbeaten now in all competitions, and for poor old Crystal Palace it's 1 win in 9 games for them in all competitions. Time now on 5 Live for 6:06 with Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage.